welcome to Woman Empowerment Series. Hi Pial.
Hi, Khadilla.
Hi, welcome to my show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and you guys want to know why I picked Pial for my show for Woman Empowerment Series? Because I personally think that Pial embodied the woman empowerment spirit. So can you tell us more about yourself?
Okay, so I am a mother of 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think collectively with my husband, which is my second marriage now.
Mm-hmm.
We have 5 kids. 2 from my marriage, from my previous marriage, and 3 from my husband's previous partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And I am now with the Global Institute for Tomorrow. I opened the office about 3 years ago, and so that's something about me.
So can you tell us more about the Global Institute of Tomorrow?
Sure. So GIFT, or the Global Institute for Tomorrow, is an independent Pan-Asian think tank. And the reason why we are independent is because we are self-funded. So we are commercially driven, we're not an NGO. And one of the reasons why we do that is so that we're not intellectually handcuffed. So typically a lot of think tanks are either funded by the government body or a wealthy individual or businesses with specific interests who want to create narratives when they're running the think tanks. And for us, with everything that's going on in the world, we felt that there was a missing piece in terms of an Asian voice. And essentially that's what GIFT does, which is providing an alternative narrative from an Asian perspective. Because as we know it, a lot of the ideology today that we have it in terms of how governments are shaped, how businesses are ran, and how civil societies operate. A lot of them actually come from the West. And without faulting or saying this is an anti-Western or pro-Asian view, it's just basically bringing up what is obvious, right? Because now we have completely different challenges, we have different demographics, and we need to look at our own solutions for our own problems, and that's essentially what the think tank does. And so a lot of our thinking gets channeled through our executive education programs. So what we focus on is in leadership learning and soft skills development. And so that's what GIFT is.
On to question number 2 of my Woman Empowerment Series video. Given your experiences, do you feel there is a need to do more in the woman empowerment space?
Absolutely. I think for starters, what you're doing today, this is amazing. We need more voices of the masses.
Thank you.
And not just elites or people in leadership positions giving interviews, because you want to find aspirational personas at every levels of society.
From different walk of life.
That's right. Yeah. So this is very important. And I think what we currently have in Malaysia, there's quite a lot going on in the space of the business sector. So we have a lot of organizations already kind of pushing for 30% women on board, getting more women to have a professional career. And as you mentioned earlier, organizations such as Lean In, for example. So there's a lot.
Sandberg.
So there's a lot of more of work within that space. However, I feel that we are lacking to help women empowerment within the public sector space. And there isn't like a clear path for women who have interest or passion within this space to want to create more changes on the systemic level or structural changes, and there's a huge need for that. So I think we have a long way to go, but then now we have to ensure that we are working in terms of this women empowerment in these 3 sectors, which is business, government, and the civil society space.
And NGO.
And NGOs, yeah. I think in the NGO, we're not lacking at all. There are a lot of women voices out there, activists, academicians who are female, strong vocal people, and that's really good. But we need more in leadership positions. So definitely we need more.
So we need more women in leadership position and also in director level for corporate sector.
And public sector.
And public sector.
Yeah.
And what
I mean,
else?
when is the day that we're going to have a female prime minister, right? Then we know that we've achieved something. So I think that'll be a benchmark. So you out there listening, you could be just the next Malaysian prime minister.
The next question. As a mother, what is your advice on parenting?
Okay, so this is kind of like a parenting philosophy that I adopt, right? I believe that every parent has a unique style, and unique approach. And given the current trend where you have all these parenting coaches, parenting gurus, it's very easy to kind of self-guilt ourselves or guilt trip ourselves in terms of how we're bringing up our children. And I would say at the end of the day, be true to your own parenting style, and don't be afraid or limited just because a parenting guru has said this or said that. So I give some examples, right? With my own kids, it's quite easy to first and foremost, think about the way how our parents used to parent us. It was a more strict environment.
Yes. Our time it was
more
different.
strict, more stringent, academically driven.
It's more strict.
Yeah, and like the Asian parenting. So that's what they call it, right? So they have the Asian parenting, and then you have the Western parenting. Whereas the Asian parenting is all about getting things done. Otherwise, you bring out the rotan. And the Western is like, okay, send to naughty corner, time out, and never use our hands or anything to even like touch our children. So I think there's of course, it's good to understand and be aware of the different parenting styles, but the best is to always strive to become better as a parent and benchmark yourself against yourself. So every day I'm a better parent, and I'm still able to embrace myself in my uniqueness, because however you are as a parent will eventually shape the character of your child. So I think a lot of the parenting gurus out there, which kind of like in a way annoys me a little bit, is because they tell you, oh, don't do this, don't say no to your child, because then you will limit their creativity, because they keep parents keep telling them, no, don't do this, no, don't do that, no, don't touch this, no, don't touch that, and then it kind of limits your child. But actually, in a way, the more the parents actually say no, that's when the rebellion comes in, right? That's when you're even more curious. You even spark more curiosity.
That's when the child start to retaliate.
Exactly. But when the child retaliates, it's because they want to know, and you're just stopping this curiosity, and they feel and they become in a way, they think creatively of how can I get to that despite my parents saying no. So in a way, you also spark that level of ingenious in them, and also this level of creativity. But when you kind of listen to a parenting guru, it just seems like now parenting styles is trying to become, there's this uniformity around it, and therefore you're producing this group of children who are going to grow up to become weak, in my opinion. And also, for people who are hiring or listening to parenting tips, etc., this is like catered to an elite a group of people, because people right at the bottom of the food chain would typically not have that access, wouldn't even know that there's such thing out there, and they're kind of still in their own ways. But if you also kind of see the trends, a lot of very successful people are driven to become so successful is because of their childhood, and therefore those childhood moments, and as you grow, it shapes them exactly. So whenever you have a barrier, you fall, and then you learn how to get back up.
And get back up
exactly,
again.
and then you fall again.
Rise.
Exactly, and a lot of it is because our parents have kind of tried to impose their worldviews and their beliefs and etc. And we just try to fight them because we know it's not true. So I think for parents, two things, right? One is not have to listen to these parenting groups and just feel good to be able to speak your truth and do your thing and be unique in your parenting ways. And secondly is but not stop your child from being curious. Right? So to continuously encourage your child to have that sense of curiosity, because in Malaysia we have the Malay, Chinese and Indian community, and typically in the Malay community, religion plays a very strong role in terms of bringing up our children. But when it comes to religion, either at school or even at home, you realize that a lot of teachings when it comes to religious matters basically tells you not to question, and either because you don't have an answer either, that's why you can't answer the question, or you just you are afraid of something else that's actually been indoctrinated upon you because you were taught not to question, and therefore now you're teaching your child not to question. And I think that's wrong. I think you should actually encourage your child to be curious, to ask questions, and you should try and answer them. But if you cannot answer them, and if you find that I actually don't know, be open and honest with your child and say, I actually don't know. Maybe we should seek help or guidance, or ask another expert, and therefore that will push our child to actually ask other people, not just ask friends, but also ask teachers, not just teachers but spiritual leaders, and then to also Google. Nowadays everything is on Google, on Google, right? There's always a forum or a discussion about something. So the point is gather your information, gather your knowledge, and at some point, once you have enough information, then you can make a judgment. You can make a call on your own, and that's what we're lacking in our society today, especially in Malaysia. Just that ability to make a judgment, the ability to not sit on the fence, stay neutral, but basically, say something based on knowledge and facts, not based on like, oh, what my friend said to me, what my ustaz said to me, or based on myths or cultural beliefs and values. It's really important to today make decisions based on statistics, facts, and data. So I think that's what it is. I mean, it's a bit long-winded, but yeah, I hope you.
And I really agree with Pial when you say about teaching them on problem-solving skills. So that is when they learn how to problem solve. That is when they learn how to process the information. Instead of spoon-feeding them with information, let them learn.
Exactly.
So I agree with you on that one.
I have one more point to say, right?
Yeah.
Because now parents are so busy, right, in all levels of society. Parents are so busy trying to work, make money, and all that. They've outsourced parenting. Parenting is just like learning. It is difficult. If you don't find it difficult, you are not parenting. That's just it. If you don't find learning difficult, you are not learning. It's just how change is uncomfortable, right? So it's the same thing. So I hope that more Malaysians will really take into mind when we talk about, teachers at school are not doing a good work and all that. But when they're at home, you're allowing them to be on the gadgets and all that, although you're physically there, that's not parenting. That's easy. That's just like, looking after, which any nanny can do that. But you need to sit down, spend time, talk to the child, engage in discussions, debates, etc., just to really make them understand more about the world that we live in today.
So the parents play a very important role to nurture and educate their child.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's not just learning by gadget, but I think the personal touch, human touch is really important, right, Pial?
Yes. I believe in parenting communities.
Yes.
I just don't believe in parenting gurus.
That is how they learn by example.
Yep.
We have come to the last question of our Women Empowerment series. So, Pial, any advice to our young females out there?
Yes. So, what I wanted to say is, especially when you termed it earlier about the millennials, right? So, when you're just at university, about to graduate, about to start your professional career, and looking around at all the social injustices that's happening in today's world, and having a cause to champion, may that be climate change, may that be wanting to help the refugees, etc., and you're fired up. That's what it is, right? So you have this fire spark in you, and this passion, and keep that fire going.
Keep that fire burning.
Keep that fire burning.
Burn, baby, burn.
And don't ever let that fire die, because life as it is will take over. You'll find a partner, you'll have family, you have a job, and then all of a sudden, everything that you wanted to fight for before becomes dimmer and dimmer, because then you're now busy about, I have to go to work, I have to make sure that I earn a salary, I have to pay my loan, I have to take care of my family, I have my kids, I'm going to get pregnant, etc., etc. So all this will happen, and probably the fire is going to burn, and it's going to dim, and it's going to burn, but just don't let it die, because the world needs you. The world needs every single person to do their part, to keep that conversation going, to keep their voices heard,
to keep the passion going.
Yeah.
So do whatever that motivates you, that inspired you.
Exactly. And I think for the young female leaders out there who would like to know more about how they can be supported and guided and even nurtured, I'm starting this podcast series and also this little community to help create 1,000 women in the next 10 years, leading in the public sector space, so that hopefully they will be able to create changes systemically and structurally.
1,000 women in public sector. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I need you guys.
Hi everyone, we've come to the end of the show, and I would like to thank Pial for sharing with us on her Woman Empowerment series and her aspiration and her goals. And we'll catch you on the next series. And Pial, do you have anything that you would like to share with the audience?
I wish you all the best. I look forward to seeing more women on this series. So stay tuned to Farisha's channel.
Okay, bye.
Bye.